Behind me is my 2000 Cobra R. This video is about doing an aftermarket exhaust mod on this car, which is otherwise stock. These cars come from the factory with it's all the components, name brand components. For the exhaust, it has a Bassani mid pipe, which is an X pipe, and Borla side exhaust. They put side exhaust, they being Ford, put side exhaust on these cars because of the large fuel cell in the back. No room to route the exhaust out the back. So the answer was side exhaust. The exhaust sounds amazing in this car. There's no air conditioning in this thing, so you can drive it around with the windows open. The side exhaust dumps right by the windows. But I'd always heard about an aftermarket exhaust mod for these made by Bassani that kind of livens up the exhaust even more, makes it louder. Quite a few years ago, I put an ad out on some car forums looking for this rare piece that fits this car. Didn't hear much of it. Found one over in Finland, from what I remember years back, that was new old stock. It was thousands of dollars, plus I had to pay shipping. I passed on that, and then quite a bit later, I got a message from somebody that was selling a used one, Takeoff. So I bought it. This was actually I think over 2 years ago, I bought it. It came kind of rusted. I had to do some cleanup on it. I took a wire wheel to it on my drill. Did a lot of cleaning up of it, and then got distracted with other cars and a lot of my track days, so it just kind of sat in my workshop for a couple years without doing anything. So recently I finished polishing up the exhaust tips, finished cleaning it up, and it's time to install it on this car. So before I do this mod, we're going to take the car out for a little bit of stock exhaust drive. The car currently has 1,430 miles on it. It rarely comes out of the garage. When it does, it's a fun treat. This car is totally raw. There's no traction control, no stability control, nothing. This is a raw car. It's angry. It's very twitchy, cammy, fun to drive. And the exhaust sounds awesome. This car's a lot of fun just to slide around. There's nothing that interferes. You just point and shoot it. It's very sure-footed, very nimble. You feel very connected to the ground with this car. That was about 6,000 RPMs. Time to take a look at the OEM exhaust. This car only has like 1,400 miles. This is the stock exhaust. Stock exhaust is a combination of Bassani mid pipe, right there, Bassani mid pipe, with Borla mufflers. And due to the big fuel cell back here, there's no room to run it out the back. Ford went out the side with the side exhaust. So it's time to see if I can get this sucker out. Looks like it separates right here. And then there's some hangers right there and back here. Now for the aftermarket exhaust. There it is. So I've been searching for one of these for a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, kind of gave up hope. And then somebody messaged me that saw one of my old inquiries, said he had one that he was going to sell. This is a used one. It was pretty rough shape when I got it. It was well rusted. It's got a nice ding on the passenger side top there from a rock or something. Shouldn't be seen because that's up underneath the car, but I wire brushed this, cleaned it up, and then set it aside and didn't do anything for probably a good couple of years on it. It's just been sitting in my workshop. But got a big show coming up for this car, and I figured might as well get this done. So I polished up the tips, as you can see, and it came out pretty nice. So, still have no idea how this is going to sound. Haven't heard one in person. So it is time to install it. So I started by spraying WD-40 up inside all the exhaust hangers, the rubber hangers. Now I'm over here loosening these guys up. I've got a 14mm wrench on there. And this car has actually never been washed or in the rain on its 22, 23-year life, so there's no corrosion on the bottom, which makes this a whole lot easier. Slight change of plans. Rather than fighting these super tight hangers on the car, I'm just going to take the brackets off, and then then I can get these things off with the exhaust on the floor versus up over my head and limited access. With my lift here, which is sporty with the side exhaust, by the way, I'm just going to put some rags up in here to hold the side exhaust. That'll hold the aft side. I've got one side loosened up here, going to loosen up the other side, and then hopefully drop down the front and feed it out forward towards the engine. The challenge of getting this side exhaust off on a 2-post lift is the lift points are right here, and the side exhaust interferes with that, so I had mine just aft. I mean, kind of just aft, but still in that lift spot. Couldn't slide the side exhaust aft, so I had to move my lift point just aft back here. It's still on the pinch weld, but it's after the official spot, and it appears to be working just fine. Not ideal, but that's what I'm dealing with. My 4-post lifts are covered in cars. You know, this might have been easier on a 4-post lift, but I'm using my 2-post. With my lift points in the back farther aft, I was able to now slide this side exhaust system backwards. Disconnect it on the front, and then I'll drop the front down and slide it out forward. Well, I'm closer. So the muffler's hitting here, and not enough space to come out forward with that 2-post blocking the side ports there. So I'm going to loosen up this guy. I'm going to mark it with a Sharpie so I make sure I get it correct back to the orientation, back to the correct orientation. But that should allow me to get this out of the way and then drop it down. Success! There is the OEM original piece. That's the aftermarket piece. We'll go look underneath the car. It is removed successfully. Now, to get the aftermarket piece back up in there, I gotta put my pads back in. They fell down as I was pulling it out. Keep from scratching. But so far so good. Not the greatest 2-post project. As I went to install the new unit sits farther aft, and of course my lift arms are blocking that spot again. So right here is the official pinch weld lift point for the rear. That was in the way, the OEM side exhaust was in the way for that. Couldn't slide it aft, barely could get on it. So I went aft back here. Now the aftermarket exhaust unit is interfering with that lift point. So now I've moved up to the front here in front of it. Not ideal, but working with what I got, playing the hand that I got. And hopefully the new one now slides up into place. Okay, the 2-post lift saga continues. The arms are in the way again, so I had to move the aft arms farther forward. Yeah, it's janky. Getting 2 cars running that haven't been running in years, all that stuff down, cars out, dumping all my air conditioning out, I'm not wanting to do that. That would shut down this project for the day. So I moved the arms forward, raised the car a couple inches, checked for stability. It still feels pretty good, actually, surprisingly. I pushed on it pretty hard and it's still up there. So let's see if the arms are far enough forward now. Definitely would be better on a 4-post lift. Another snafu, these were either bent in shipping or the previous owner bent them, but these are bent in. I marked the pipe on that one over there, butting up against, and you can see how much they're bent in there. So yeah, I gotta try and hammer them back. Making progress. Got it mounted, secured, using the front bolts, and I got a floor jack for the aft side. I put that little adapter or sleeve from the that was in there from the factory. I put that back in on the passenger side. In the back side here, these exhaust hangers are not used in the Cobra R. That's for aft mufflers, I guess. So the hangers, I found it easiest to take the brackets off, take the rubber, which these rubber hangers have seen better days. They're kind of worn out, but take it off, put it on the floor, press it in, because this big barb up here on the factory hanger has a hard time going through there. So I lubed it up, used the floor and my weight, pressed it down there, and then brought the brackets up, slipped this piece on right here on the bottom, and then mounted, and everything right now is loose. Got the side brackets mounted, just sitting there all loosely. I'll do the best I can of centering everything up and then tighten everything down. Well, it was a hard-fought battle, but it's in there. All the exhaust hangers are snugged down. It looks pretty decent. Got these guys tightened down. We'll see how it sounds. Got a slight issue with the exhaust tip alignment. Driver's side is kind of just a hair forward of the fender line, and it sits nice and flush there. Looks good. Passenger side, a little sunken in and hanging out. So this side is kind of bent backwards. I thought I could loosen these up. Those are clamps, and tweak it, but those are actually welded. I'm not sure if previous owner welded these or if that's the way they come, but this is all welded, so there's no adjustments there. So I think I am going to try and pull this forward off my lift with some ratchet straps just to kind of bend it forward. We'll see if it works. I pulled the side exhaust forward using a ratchet strap to the front wheel. That moved these side exhaust tips there forward into the correct position, but then they were kind of sunken in underneath the car. Basically, that side exhaust pipe you see there was too close to the muffler, which I needed to spread back out. I found this airbag spreader. It's a hand pump. It lifts something like 500 pounds. Used some spacers and was able to move that pipe away from the muffler, and then pulled again with the straps to get the side exhaust tips forward and got it into a pretty good position. Mod complete. It's time to take this sucker for a test drive, maiden voyage. I did find out along the way, looking at some pictures on the internet, that previous owner had in fact welded this. This unit, this Bassani side exhaust unit, originally came just with clamps, multiple clamps across the system for adjustability. So this one's been welded. I had to do a little pulling and some bending, but no harm, no foul. It's all solid. Should be good. Find out here when we take it for a ride. Here we go. All right, here we go. Put the windows down so we can hear it better. There we go. Dumping all the AC out of my garage. Get that closed. deep sound. Once it warms up a little bit and I get on it, we'll hear it better. Little pop, so those are kind of cool. Pop. Sounds good. This car still has cats and the stock mid pipe. You can remove all that and get much louder, but I'm in a testing stage, so I won't be removing any of that. Man, this car is fun to drive. It's just a unique experience. It's not like any of my other Mustangs. This thing is just raw, nothing interfering. Suspension. You know, the 2020 carbon fiber track pack is kind of a much more modern evolution, more power, bigger everything. But a lot of the same attributes of this car. What's really different is this car is just a pure raw experience, whereas the new car has a bunch of, assist, traction control, stability control, different drive modes, changing things, changing the feels. This one is just, stick and rudder airplane, as a pilot would say. A lot of fun to drive, fun to slide around, fun to point. It's just a unique, fun experience. All right, here we go. All right, that was fun. Sounds good. Well, that's it. Thanks for coming on this journey of installing an aftermarket exhaust system on my 2000 Cobra R. Fought some battles, won some battles. It was fun. Thanks for watching. See you next time.